Two functions that I use often are the rand and the RandBetween functions. So first I'll show you how these functions work using the rand function, and then I'll show you some practical examples using RandBetween. So first, the rand function, if I type equals R-A-N-D, and I do open and close parentheses, that's the whole function right there. So you can see what I've typed there. That's all it is. So it's really easy to type. What it's going to give me is any number between 0 and 1. So when I hit enter, I get 0.0242. Now the tricky thing about this function that you should know is whenever I edit a cell or edit my worksheet, that function will recalculate. You can see it's changing every time I change my spreadsheet, right? So sometimes that may not be what you want. It might be, but oftentimes it's not what I want. So to fix that, usually what I'll do is I'll copy the cell and then I'll paste a value. That way, instead of showing the rand function, you can see up here in my formula bar, it's actually displaying the number. So that's how you get the actual number. Once you've calculated a random number, you can actually get that number for sure, lock it in that cell by pasting values. So that's the rand function, and that's essentially how it works. Using the RandBetween function, I'm going to show you how to populate a database with random information. So over here, I have my name database, and it's got a little bit of information about people. This is all just fake data, but I'm going to add in some additional fake data. I have 3 columns that I want to fill in. I've got the home value, the car they drive, and the city. So I'm going to populate these things using the RandBetween function. So first, the home value. Now the RandBetween function is very similar to the rand function, but instead of just giving a random number between 0 and 1, you can designate what you want the number to be between. So in this case, where I'm doing home values, I'm going to select something between 150,000 and we'll say 750,000. So I'm going to get a number anywhere between those two. If I push that function all the way down, now I have, oops, I didn't want to create that there. Now I have home values across the board. Now again, these numbers are going to transition or change every time that I edit my worksheet. So to change that, I'm just going to copy the whole column and then paste values. And that was an easy way for me to create numbers. I have like 400 or 500 rows or something on this spreadsheet, so 442. So I was quickly able to populate some values. Now, there are some times when you want to populate text, and you want to populate text randomly. So you can use RandBetween to do this as well. However, you're not going to want a number to display. For example, where it says car here, I don't want to list 1 or 2. I don't want to list a number. So what I'm going to do is create a temporary kind of a sister table here that lists all of my car types. And I have here listed car types, and I have cities here. So I'm going to go ahead and type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then use a VLOOKUP function to select my car type and my city. But it will still generate it randomly if I use RandBetween. All right, so I'm going to type equals VLOOKUP, and instead of having a reference, I'm just going to do to look up in that table. I'm just going to do RandBetween. I'm going to do between 1 and 9, and then I'm going to look it up in these columns here. Okay, and then I want to in this case, since I'm pulling the car, I want to pull column 2. All right, there we go. So in this case, I got a Saturn. If I, whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. So if I, oh gosh, there we go. All right, so you can see it's changing a whole lot, and that's because that RandBetween is changing. But if I select this, copy, and paste special values here, and I know I have forward on here twice. That was one thing I wanted to point out. What that's going to do is hypothetically, there should be more Fords now on this list than any other car type because there's more Fords listed here. You have a better chance of getting Ford than any other type. So that was the car type. For the city type, we'll do the same thing. We'll go equals VLOOKUP, RandBetween 1 and 9 in these columns. Whoops. There we go. And this time we're going to go with 3 and look it up exactly. And now we have our cities too. So I'm going to want to copy and paste those values as well. And then once you have that, you can even get rid of your temporary table if you don't want it. I'm going to widen out my columns here. And now I have random lists or random selections for my database.